Hi, my name is Samme Allen. I am an online, hybrid and in-person moderator, MC and meeting designer. I know as the world starts moving into a little bit of normality, we do know that a lot of our meetings are now online. When we hire or when we contract our speakers for an in-person event, we're really confident that they are obviously experts in their subject matter, but also that they're comfortable and confident presenting on a stage behind a lectern or in a seminar room. But the world has changed and it is different, and presenting at home online has its challenges for speakers and for moderators as well. So I wondered whether you would be interested in 3 tips that I can give you very quickly if you're a speaker or if you are an event organizer, that you can give to your speaker just to help this process move along and produce the best results for your meeting or event. There are plenty more tips at sammeallen.com, and you can reach me for a free consultation to talk about your online, hybrid or indeed in-person event after this by just getting in touch. But let's start. Tip number 1, technology. Don't we all just love it? Please make sure it's written in your contract and is confirmed that your speaker has invested a few pounds, a few euros in a wired connection into their router. This is critical. The worst thing that can happen when we have our speakers is that we lose them. Yes, you can risk assess that and you can get them to dial in, but you will lose the engagement from your participants. So it's super critical. Please remind your speaker not to have any other programs other than the ones he or she are using up and running. The least amount of usage in the computer will again help the process run smoothly. And lastly, if they are at home and they have a family, can you please ask them that their family doesn't download the latest Netflix series whilst they're online for that 20, 40, whatever time that they're going to be online. And again, a consideration for organisers is when you bring your speakers in from a time zone perspective, when will the internet, when will the broadband be strong or weak? Something to think about. Tip number 2, and this one's called lights, camera, action. Yes, we are producing broadcast quality events. It doesn't matter that we're at home. Our attendees expect this. We are investing with sponsors and tickets, so we need to make sure that all our speakers and presenters are of the tip-top quality. This is easily done. Number 1, lights. Please make sure, if you're a speaker or you're the organizer, that you look at your lighting. A well-lit room with lighting behind your camera is super important. Again, it's not very expensive to invest in a ring light for your desk and flat lights that will work. It's something that if you're regularly speaking, it really is a must. One of the most important things is if you're using a green screen, that you also light your green screen with your lighting. So virtual background must have a green screen must be lit. That's a non-negotiable. If you haven't got that and we can't see it at a rehearsal as event organisers, we don't use a virtual background. So we're used to this now, and we can make sure that the backgrounds behind us are nice and clear, clutter-free, no crazy boxes or shopping bags, and that will look at high quality broadcast. Lastly is action. We as speakers and presenters are more often than not used to standing up presenting. So why should we change this at home? There are reasons for standing up. Your diaphragm stretches, so you project your voice clearer. It's also scientific, it's neuroscience. You feel more empowered and more able to engage. You can use your hands, like I spend ages using my hands. So stand up. You're going to ask me, well, how do we do this? We don't have a movable desk. There are plenty of household items that you can be using. I'm moving house today. My desktop is crazy. So I'm using a roll of bubble wrap to make sure that I'm looking at the camera, I'm standing up, I've got that energy there. So that's lights, camera, and action. Tip number 3, engagement with participants. This is crucial. If we haven't got that, then we haven't got a good meeting and event. So how can we do this? It's super challenging for speakers to run their presentation in a room looking at a camera with no interaction from an audience. No looking into people's eyes, seeing people nodding their heads, writing something that they've heard that's valuable. So please ask your speaker or presenter to rehearse with a camera so that they can feel what their energy level looks like. I've seen a lot of speakers sadly lose their energy halfway through. And if your speaker loses the energy, then so will your participants. So please make sure that they do rehearse and they get used to this new way of presenting. Speaking of that, why not look at the meeting design of the presentation? We know it's a recognized fact that our participants online aren't as engaged as they would be in person. So look at breaking up the presentation. Maybe every 15 minutes your presenter stops, poses a question to the audience. If you have the time, the audience could go into breakouts to discuss, or perhaps they can use the chat box to make their comments or answer that question, or even just have 5 minutes of not looking at the screen and having a bit of a period of reflection. Use your moderator at this point. They can be facilitating the chat and the Q&A, find pertinent questions to that part of the presentation and have that interaction and that dialogue. But do break it up so that the audience feel that they are part of the presentation, not that they're just watching yet another webinar. And lastly, with your speaker, please ask them to stay on. If you're on an online event, why not stay in the room or use a breakout room where people can go and ask their Qs with that speaker. We're seeing a lot more, which is a real positive part of the online and the virtual experience. We're seeing a lot more people asking questions, and it's nothing more frustrating as a participant not having your question answered. So perhaps what you can do is have that breakout room or leave the room open so that the speaker can answer those questions. If you're running a hybrid, and we'll talk about that in the next video, but if you are running a hybrid event and you have a speaker in a studio, then why not after your session, after the live session, run some video on demand answering those questions. You've got the speaker there, you've got the crew there, you're in the space. So use your time. That can be really, really gold dust in terms of post-event marketing, and also perhaps a revenue stream by getting somebody to sponsor your video on demand. There are a ton more tips and tricks that I can offer. I'm willing to share, willing to connect in with you. So please find me at samallen.com, get in touch and let me help you make your meetings more successful. Please stay safe, please keep washing your hands, and I'll see you at the next event really soon. Take care.